This is what will bring you in-depth review and top analysis of stories that made a headline in the outgoing week. I am Nifemi Oguntoye, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us on the show. Now, let me quickly introduce you to some of the stories we were looking at on the show today. It was good news in the outgoing week when on Wednesday, acting President Yemi Osinbajo came back with great good news that the president, according to him, is recuperating fast and still has a sense of humor intact. According to the acting president, they discussed several national issues, except the screen ministers. They did not talk about the suspended SGF as well as the NIADG. So many are asking, what exactly did you guys talk about if you didn't mention these key issues? Of course, many others will say there are lots more important things to discuss. Departed Nigeria to United Kingdom on May 7, 2017 on a medical follow-up. But then the Ekiti State governor came out almost immediately to debunk what the acting president said. According to him, the president is incapacitated and on life support, sticking to his earlier submission on this matter. He even went ahead to threatening to release photographs to review the current state of health of the president. So we kept asking questions, wondering if indeed the Ekiti State governor is in custody of this been recorded to have said. Now, this happened in 2015 prior to the presidential election when he came under intense criticism after placing this advert on the front page of the Punch newspaper. So he had the picture of Muritala, there was a back. The behalf of the president, Aisha Buhari, was involved in the famous William Jefferson bribery scandal. She's even gone back a couple of times after that. So, can we go to bank with the position of Ekiti State governor? We're going to ask without releasing it almost immediately to the media, the questions going on the minds of journalists at this time. It was also good news for people, Sheriff as chairman of the party. So it's a season of confusion. And different parties, we experienced massive defection to the ruling party, APC. The last time we had a press briefing at the state secretariat of the PDP, it was still occupied by the Ali Madu Sheriff faction. What they are saying is that irrespective of who occupies the chairmanship position at the top, they have always been in the PDP. When it was Sheriff, they had been in the PDP. And now that it's McAfee, nothing has changed as we speak on the political structure for PDP across the states. And of course, their position as opposition to the All Progressives Congress. We'll be looking at all of this in the course of the show if you stay with us. All right, so we'll refresh your memory right now, bringing you the position of the acting president and the Ekiti State governor as regards the health status of Mr. President, and we'll be back with more. Stick around, don't go away.
Speculations that President Muhammadu Buhari is allegedly on life support. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the president is recuperating fast and expected back. Still has a sense of humor intact.
Well, as I've said, he's in very high spirits. He's recuperating very quickly. We had a very long conversation. We spoke for well over an hour, and his humor is all there. He's doing well.
He says several national issues were discussed with the president during his London visit on Tuesday, but added that the issues of swearing in newly screened ministers and the ministers would soon be sworn in.
Well, first, as you know, I went to see him to check up on him, find out how he was doing. I had, of course, been speaking to him on the phone, and I thought it would be a good thing to go and see him and, generally check up on how he was doing, and also to brief him.
Buhari is in good health and recuperating fast following a short visit to the United Kingdom, where the president has been on medical leave. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the governor insists that he stands by his earlier statement that President Muhammadu Buhari is incapacitated and on life support.
It is not in the interest of this country that our future, our country, will be run on deceit and propaganda. Nigerians want to see the president. And you recall in my release last week, I said they should show and divert the attention of Nigerians on this issue.
He also threatened to release photographs to reveal the current state of the president's health.
We have made efforts and would have been able to establish that the president is on life support. We have been able to establish this. And I'm saying that going forward, if no step is taken to tell Nigerians the truth about the state of health of our president, I will release 11 pictures to show the state of health of the president of Nigeria. I said, if they don't take appropriate steps, now I will release some pictures that will clearly show.
Welcome back. You're watching the Editors Forum. We'll begin with our first story, Buhari's health status between Osinbajo and Fayose. I'm joined by very interesting personalities on the show today. We have Victor High, public affairs analyst and broadcast journalist. Thank you very much for finding time to come.
Thank you for having me.
Yemi Sakai is a consultant who always joins us on the show. Glad to have you around today.
Thank you for having me again.
All right, let me start with the Victor on the extreme end. Who do we believe? Acting president is of the opinion that Mr. President is doing well, is recuperating fast. We should expect him soonest. In a swift reaction, the Ekiti State Governor is threatening to release pictures.
The side of what you call it now, the Ekiti State Governor. And the reason is, it is in the acting president's interest. And I'm separating personality now from office, because it's when people get into office. Sometimes integrity is there, but it can be compromised a bit. I'll start by sharing a little joke and you'll understand what I mean. They say, why is it that when, of course, it's easy to understand, it's good table manners. When you are eating, you don't talk. You understand what I'm saying? So, he has gone there. We no less, and Sahara reporter told us he had only 5 minutes. I don't know what assessment you can make in 5 minutes. Not seeing. The onus of proof otherwise now lies on the administration to show us, either by way of a video recording, that the president is in the state that the VP has stated. In any case, there was no current photograph that I know of that has been released of the visit, and it's very unusual.
The acting president is a pastor. He's also been known to be a man of integrity. Do you think he could be lying?
Well, there's a difference between lying and not speaking the truth. There are two different things. Lying is lying, not speaking the truth is abstaining from lying. And, and that's a particular way of not telling the truth. I would toe the line of, in the United States of America, there's something called a red telephone. The red telephone is a phone in White House that with a single phone call, the United States president is talking to the president of Russia. That happened after the missile crisis between Russia. Discourse on it's a norm. And there was nothing, there was a blackout. And if acting president, that is, President Barry should address us in 5 minutes, not in any regionalized or probably restricted language, in language you cannot understand. And we can now say, okay, fine, we are rest assured that as a man that is healthy, strong, and fit for the office of the president. And that was why most of us queued behind him, despite his age. But now we've come to realize that the office has taken the pressure and rigors of office has taken its toll on him.
That's right.
And is sick. Every Nigerian. If after the first medical vacation, he came back and he resigned, he would have been the president emeritus, like we have the governor emeritus in Lagos State now. Every information, every decision has to go through him. And will still be going through him. Sensitive. And let's call a spade and not a cutlass. Buhari is an old man. And if anything happens to President Buhari today, which I don't pray, I'm not praying for anything to happen to him. If anything happens to him, he's a fulfilled man. He was a former governor. He was a former being a military head of state. After Obasanjo, he's him. So the guy has been blessed. So I don't see why this obsession with power, because he's holding on to power by proxy. We see there's instability in our polity. We can't go forward, we can't go back. We're looking around. Yes, Oshibajo went there, probably saw Buhari for Cyprus clean 5 minutes for 1 hour. But spend more time with the kitchen cabinet negotiating, because I believe the presidency of Buhari is winding down. And we should expect another presidency.
Let me come to Victor very quickly. I'm concerned about the pedigree scandal. He even mentioned the fact that he dared the First Lady to travel out to America. Now, we have seen the wife of the president go several times. I'm concerned about that kind of pedigree he has for us to really believe him at such a time like this.
Well, I've always believed him because Muhammadu Buhari, that he was not healthy, and people lambasted him the truth, but because of issue of politics, we don't want to believe ourselves. That was why people, you know, took him to the cleaners, said all manner of things about him. So, and again, the issue of the president's wife, you know,
that was being talked about was a different person. It is open in the media.
How is it different? Are you saying that? Are you saying that Americans
goofed on that particular information? That's what I am telling you as a journalist.
Okay.
That the Aisha Buhari was a different person. Out in public media on an information that has not been proven.
But people have been making such allegations. Even the former CBA governor, who is now Nehemiah, first told Nigeria that $40 billion was missing from the coffers of the NNPC. At the end of the day, it changed it to $20 million. When a forensic audit was carried out, did Nigeria not believe Sanusi at that time?
So you are saying
up to today, people are still quoting that figure that $20 billion got missing from the NNPC.
Let me just add something, just quickly. You will recall, and this is where honestly the issue of integrity begins to come in. You will recall that there was a photo ops in the UK and all that.
Yeah, with the first family, the first medical vacation.
Exactly. You know, and was able to bust that bubble and proved that, I mean, side by side, we saw that that place was actually the Hilton. So, and when you begin to see things like that, you want to begin to ask yourself, like your original question, who should we believe?
No,
if government is doing propaganda, whether by proxy or directly,
been taken too far. You ask yourself some simple questions, as in, you can't take your child, let me give you an analogy on this. You can't take your child to the hospital. You get to the hospital, the doctor, after examination, just walk to you as the parent, say, go to the account department, pay 700,000 naira, we are winning your child to the theater, and that is and turns away. Like, I'm paying the bills, I should know what I'm paying for. As a follow-up for the because he had operation earlier in the year for prostate cancer. That is Benin Republic. You see, the presidency should treat Nigerians with respect. It's not as if I don't hate president to have an old man falling sick. But it goes beyond sentiments.
It's all right.
This is the country has to move forward.
Let's take this conversation a bit further. The not too young to run bill is currently on the floor of the Africa. The election of 39-year-old Emmanuel Macron in France has made that clarion call louder. But then we have a system where experience is everything. Even for politics in this part of the world, you need to have been there for a long time to be relevant. How soon do you see younger people participating in leadership?
Be given. Very quickly, some people, they make reference to the First Republic where they mention the likes of Obasanjo, go on, how they ascended power at the age of 27, 29. But they should not forget the fact that that time you don't need to know a politician. But today, if you want to join the Nigerian army, you must have a top politician who will sign for you. Even to become a lecturer in university now. I was aspiring to become a lecturer in my state university, not to be able to ascend a position of leadership. And if the old people, 1966, 69, those who were there, they are still the people there today. I was in secondary school when I ascend to become the president of this country. So they must give opportunity. They must resign. They must retire because the Nigerian working system says that the retirement age is 65 years. Then for professor is 70 years. as a lecturer in the university who have impact on the society. Why somebody with just school start can come and rule people at the age of 80 years? Is that not an aberration?
Let's open this conversation to how to call that number, to the number coming up on your screen in a moment from now. We'd love to hear from you before we move on to the next story. Now, this is a bit dicey because there's pretty nothing wrong in being old. With old comes vintage knowledge, experiences, and the rest. There are also people who are old and who still seem to be energetic. We still saw the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, engaging more younger people and not making it look like, oh, the old people are a problem in Nigeria.
It just takes